So a few years back, there was some research that came out of Harvard talking about the effects of power postures. The idea was you could stand in ways that you filled up space, you rolled back your shoulders, opened up your chest, lifted up your chin, and overall maintained a confidence demeanor for at least 2 minutes. Sounds pretty simple, right? What do you think the effects were? What do you think in just 2 minutes? Maybe people feeling slightly more confident, a little bit less nervous? Well, it turns out in this study, they got pretty specific. They measured testosterone and cortisol levels before and after. The results? Testosterone levels up 20%, cortisol levels, the stress hormone, down 25%. In a nutshell, that one little exercise had a huge effect. Not only one that the participants felt, the observers noticed, but was actually measurable in hormone levels. Now, of course, I'm not sure what type of results you would get, but I do know what's worked for me. I've done a lot of research, and in today's video, I'm gonna lay out over a dozen research-backed, practical ways to build a stronger presence, how to give off a masculine aura, how to build a stronger frame. So, you ready, gents? Let's do this. So did you notice? I'm back in the old studio. Feels a little bit odd, there's dust on the lights, but seriously guys, for this video, I wanted to stand, and that is the first point, is to stand with confidence. Gents, your frame begins with your posture. One of the first things they drilled in us in the Marine Corps is to stand up straight. Stand at attention. I don't do that anymore. But to this day, when I'm around people, what do? Well, I roll the shoulders back. I put the chest out a bit. I tighten up the core muscles. I stand a little taller. Now, the reality is most of you guys didn't have the privilege of having a drill instructor yell at you for weeks to stand up straight. We've also got the added issue of phone neck. We're constantly looking down at our phones, causing ourselves to crouch in and develop through muscle memory a weak posture. So, how to correct this quickly? Well, first up, you gotta have awareness. And the hack I'm gonna share with you right now sounds so simple, but it's so powerful, and that is the tape method. Now, the tape on the back hack, also known as the posture feedback hack, it's so simple, you almost wanna write it off, but guys, this works. The way you go about it is you take some kinesiology tape, KT tape, rock tape, or something similar, and you apply a long vertical strip down your back. You then apply 2 strips in an X formation diagonally across the upper back, from one shoulder blade to the opposite side of your lower spine. And yes, you probably will need to get some help here. Just get your roommate or your wife to help you out. And by the way, if you got a really hairy back or you don't like the idea of tape on your body, you could actually wear a tight undershirt and do the same thing here. Because what this tape does, it doesn't stop you from having bad posture, but every time you slump over, every time your spine curves, it's a quick reminder that you're doing this. Again, the tape doesn't hold your posture in place. It reminds you that you are falling out of good posture. Well, gents, this instant feedback all of a sudden can have you standing straighter and can help train your muscles and create the habit so that you have a better stance, a better posture. Now, if that's too weird for you, or in conjunction, consider throwing on a sports jacket, a blazer, or a suit jacket. Why, you may ask? Well, besides this being a style channel, guys, structured jackets like this naturally encourage a man to stand up straight. The way that the jacket is built puts pressure on a few little points that encourages you to stand up taller, to have that better posture. The suit jacket was a military jacket without the medals, but it still maintained the overall structure and the silhouette, which encouraged a man to stay upright and mobile. And if you think about it, you probably already knew this, because every time you get dressed up, what do you get? You get compliments. That jacket makes you look amazing, because guess what? It probably does. It slims up your silhouette. It makes your chest look larger. It makes you look taller because it builds up the shoulders. Most jackets are naturally tailored for one button to button that slims up the waist and overall creates a strong frame, a masculine silhouette. Next up, let's talk exercise. So if you want better posture, if you want a more masculine frame, some great exercises for this are going to be scapular wall slides, YTW raises, bird dogs, glute bridges, and the Superman hold. You can do these as a circuit, you can do these individually as you take breaks throughout the day. Because as you probably know, that is a huge culprit. The fact that most of us are sitting at a desk 8+ hours a day. And if those exercises are too complex, here's a 30-second reset. It's called the postural reset habit, and it's simply placing your palms forward, thumbs out, squeezing your shoulder blades gently, and lifting the chest as you take 3 breaths. This exercise is used by physical therapists around the world to reverse desk fatigue. It's simple, it works, but you've got to do it consistently, preferably every hour you're at the desk. But what about real exercise? Something that's going to get you sweat, something that's going to use the majority of your muscles, something that's going to give you a great workout and help build your strong masculine frame? Well, gents, look no further than rowing. Rowing is low impact. It uses 86% of the body's muscles. And on top of the muscle building, it's great cardio exercise. And in fact, 20 minutes of intense rowing 3 times a week can get you the cardio you need to be in excellent shape. I know this because about 6 months ago, Averon sent me their Strong Power Rower and I've been using it and loving it. Now, straight up, I was a competitive runner in college. I like to exercise, but I know that I needed something with less impact on the knees. And I also wanted an exercise that was going to work the muscles more, especially in the upper body. Well, guys, that's where Averon Strong Rower shines. Not only can you adjust the settings, but it's incredibly smooth, comfortable. But guys, that's not the best part. One of the things I started to hate with running is it was getting pretty boring, especially going those longer runs. But with my Strong Rower, it's the complete opposite because Averon paid attention to something almost everyone overlooks, and that is gamification. So as you're rowing, you can play games, you can join classes, you can travel through scenic destinations, you can compete against people, or if you're like me, you can catch up on your edutainment. Gents, do your own research, but when it comes to the quality of the rower and the gamification, this thing is second to none. And for those of you guys that have a winter like we've got here in Wisconsin, I don't want to be out running, slipping on ice. I don't want to injure myself. What I love about this rower is it's compact. I have it right here in the office and I can get a workout in, small workouts in, sometimes multiple times a day when I just want to break up my day and get in some exercise. So gents, check out Averon and their Strong Rower. I'm linking to them down in the description below with the best deal you're going to find out there on the web. Seriously guys, it's an awesome rower, awesome company. Take advantage of this deal. Go check them out. Very cool company. Now, the next tip, and getting back to clothes, let's talk about structure. I hinted at it a little bit earlier, but guys, one of the reasons I recommend the structured jackets is not just the way it holds you, but also the lines that are formed, such as at the shoulder points, at the ends of the sleeves right here at the wrist, and the overall length of a jacket, which usually ends at about the curvature of the buttocks. What this does when combined with well-fitted trousers is it creates a silhouette that designers have worked on for over 2 decades to give a strong masculine appeal. And by the way, that's one of the reasons that you only want to button the one button on a jacket. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to button all of them. You don't want to do that because the designer, whatever they cut and design that jacket, they actually designed it to only have that one button and to open up, flare out a little bit at the bottom. This creates a little bit of an opening right at the waist area, and it gives an overall soft combination with that jacket and trouser combination and looks better. So yeah, don't button that bottom button, guys. Now this next tip, perfect for this season, and that is to layer. So right here, I could probably have a sweater underneath, but bringing in multiple layers, it naturally adds a bit of bulk. It builds up the frame. But the key here, obviously, is you don't want to overdo it. You want to make sure that the clothing fits well. You don't want to look too bulky or cumbersome, and worse, just make the entire outfit uncomfortable. But yeah, layering done right can build up the frame, give a very strong overall silhouette. Next up, let's talk about color contrasting and visual sculpting. So when you look at a man wearing a jacket, what do you notice? You notice that V right here. If I was wearing a necktie, it'd be pointing right at the face. That's the purpose of the necktie, also to bring the collar together. Point being is designers, they didn't just randomly put this stuff together. They designed this overall to draw attention to the chest, then up to the face. And that V shape, which we often see here, is a very masculine look. Basically what we see in a waist to chest to shoulder ratio, that V right there, it's a natural, healthy taper that both men and women find it attractive. Other men find it attractive because you come off as a guy that is dependable, could have their back. For women, yeah, this guy's healthy, he'd probably be pretty good in bed. Seriously, there's a whole study on that, shoulder to waist proportions and perceptions of sexual prowess, but yeah, I'm not going to get into it. That's for another video. Now, what about beards? How do those affect the overall frame, silhouette? Well, in general, a well-cut beard is going to give off a more masculine vibe. It makes a lot of sense because a man being able to grow a beard shows that he has a healthy dose of testosterone. Of course, that's cultural because a lot of that is also genetics. But in any case, if you are going to grow a beard, pay attention to the details, keep it well groomed. Now, what if you can't really grow a beard, or it's really patchy, or you just don't simply want to grow one, but you've got a skinny neck? What can you do about that? So a quick hack here is to simply bring in maybe a turtleneck sweater, to wear a collared shirt, and to button up and wear a necktie. All of these things right here can hide a lanky neck and give you a little bit more substance, give you a little bit more heft. Now, what about a man's gait? The way that he walks. This does have an effect on how people perceive our strength, our masculinity, and our overall frame, our strength. Because if you walk poorly, if you walk like you're, walking on eggshells, basically you've got an older man's walk. You're perceived as having a weaker frame. One of the best exercises, if you're not, guys, getting out and simply walking. Going for runs. But walking is just as good for you. It takes longer, but the point is you want to continue to train those muscles. You want to have you want to have a bounce in your walk. In addition, when you're walking into a room, when you are going through a building, even if you don't know where you're going, walk like you know where you're going. Look and go forward. What you want to avoid are taking small, unnatural steps, walking around aimlessly. And this can happen, especially if you're going to be giving a presentation, you're walking up on stage. Have you ever had that happen to you? I had this happen to me one time. You're getting up on stage in front of all these people, and I'm like, how do I even walk? Just get yourself into the zone, look at the podium or wherever you're going or the person you're going to walk on to shake hands, then to take the microphone. So just remember, walk forward with purpose, look at where you're going, throw a smile on your face, keep your chin up, eyes forward, boom, you've got this. Now, what about your hands? So for a lot of people, whenever they're up on stage, they're talking, they're around others, they don't know what to do with their hands. What you want to avoid is fidgeting. Have you ever watched Hitch? He talks about, keep your arms within that box. That's in general what you want to do. You don't want to go full Italian on people and go like that. You also don't want to put your hands behind, no Houdini, like you're chained up. No, let's avoid that. Guys, just simply keep your hands in here. Use minimal gestures, but keep your hands visible. You can even hold them in front of you. If you're at an event, there's nothing wrong with holding a drink. Even if you don't drink, I don't. So I usually have a water, a juice, kitty cocktail, flavored drink, whatever it is. The point is, don't hide your hands. Don't put them in your pockets. Don't put them behind you. All of that minimizes your overall presence. It makes you look like you got a smaller frame. Now, what about visual anchors? This is the use of patterns or other accessories to be able to draw the eyes to a particular area and overall give a little bit more breadth to your presentation. So classic right here is a pocket square. I always wear a pocket square. I feel a jacket is incomplete without one. If you're not used to something like this, maybe just go with a white linen pocket square with a presidential fold. Wear it to an event. If you're really conscious about it, then just simply tuck it back down or put it into your back pocket. Another great option is a watch, maybe contrasting shoes, a contrasting belt. Be careful with the belt and a contrast around the waist area. If you are a larger, wider man, in that case, you want to have a monochromatic look there so the eyes can go up and down. But if you're a relatively thin guy, you can go with, a dark brown belt on lighter tan trousers. The key here is control. Use the accessory to start a conversation, to draw the eyes in, to do what you want it to do. You don't want to just randomly put things together and think they're going to work out. Now, what about eye contact? What about speaking? What about all the other stuff? Guys, I got it covered in this video. I made this one a while back. It's a solid video. Go check it out. Boom, right here. Oh yeah.